Welcome to Hoops and Headsets, the all-women's basketball podcast. Today's episode, we are getting a bit too excited, maybe a bit early. We're celebrating 100 days to go to the tip-off of the Women's World Cup in Berlin. As always, I'm joined by Shona. She's back from her travels in the States wearing the purple of the Valkyries. Welcome, Shona. Have you had a chance to decompress after the States and get your head back to international FIBA basketball?
Yeah, obviously a lot of stuff popping up on social media right now as FIBA's making the push, less than 100 days out. So been following all of those, and then obviously following all of the European players also in the WNBA who have been balling out, and excited to see them play with their national teams come the World Cup with maybe what might be a little bit more confidence heading into the World Cup.
Yeah, it's certainly going to change some dynamics, that's for sure. Like you say, plenty of players in the W balling out. We're thinking about doing that month episode as well, where we deep dive in and pick out the ones where we think they've made a huge difference. And there's loads as well. That's the exciting thing. But all eyes on the World Cup. Obviously, the draw came out, and the first thing we all do, and everyone does in every sport for every draw of every tournament, is look for the group of death. So that's my first question for you. Which group is the group of death, and why do you think it is the group of death?
I kind of went back and forth. In my opinion, it's between Group B and Group D. So Group B, we have Hungary, Korea, Nigeria, France.
Yep.
Group D, we have US, Czechia, Italy, and China. Okay, so now I need to give my reasonings why I think, those two, in my opinion, yes. I mean, let's go ahead and start with Group D. Outside of the USA, I have no idea who else is going to come out of that pool. We can make some, educated guesses, looking back at history and whatnot. But I think those three other teams have such a good chance of finishing second and third or fourth. As it stands right now, I don't know. That being said, I do think Czechia, we all know the news. Obviously, Emma Chikova, Minnesota Lynx, she went down after her first couple games, torn ACL.
Heartbreaker, absolute heartbreaker. One of our later questions talking about breakthroughs, she would have been absolutely top of the list of a player that was ready to absolutely break through. A strong season at Praha, making waves in the W, and then, yeah, horrible. Being in Europe and seeing in the morning when you wake up and see those posts come through, you're just like, oh no, yeah. You feel for her.
So, I think that's going to take a little bit of a hit on them. But again, this Czechia team, they do have more experience as a national team program in general than Italy, where all these women showing up, it's going to be their first rodeo. And, Italy to get back to the World Cup, it's been a very, very long time, and nerves can play a very big part in a competition, in a short competition where you have to try and win very early on. So, that is why I call them one of my groups of death. So I know you're going to get mad because now I have two.
No. I'm on board with you. Literally, if I could show you my notes, they're exactly the same.
Okay.
I plumped for Group B instead, but I've got the same. I said, you could argue Group D as well. 100%. Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
Now, go ahead, take it away if you want to talk about Group B, because I'm sure we probably have the same kind of sentiment.
It's the same argument. It's exactly the same argument. And I started off the argument in my head is, what is a group of death? And it was kind of like the chances of not making it out of the group. Right. And that's why B and D came up. I think A and C is a different conversation because I think they're intriguing because it's difficult to say who's going to win those groups.
Yeah.
You look at Group A, Japan, Spain, Germany, Mali. Probably Spain and Germany, you would say, are the favourites to win that group. But even then, Japan and Mali could have a standout and come through on that. And then you look at Group C, it's probably between Belgium and Australia for who's going to win that group. I think Turkey will be the third place team in Group C. I think Mali will be the team that exit in Group A. So you kind of, yes, there's a fight for first place, but it's not really death for those teams if they have a bit of a struggle in the odd game here and there. We kind of think we know what three teams. But yeah, Group B, Hungary, Korea, Nigeria, and France. Same argument that you had for obviously the US. France should, and that's definitely in quotations, should breeze through their group. They should head straight through to the quarterfinals with the depth and quality they've had. You know, looking at the qualifiers, looking at how some of them are progressing in the W season is phenomenal. And then it's pick 2 out of 3, Hungary, Korea, and Nigeria. Now, if you were looking, if trying to pick it out is difficult. If you're looking at it, I would probably say Korea should make it through. Although I saw them have a very dodgy opening game in their qualifier in Lyon, where it didn't work. Their shooting didn't drop, so they collapsed. If they shoot the 3-ball well, they'll make it through. Done. Yeah. And then it's where the Nigeria, the good version or the bad version, turn up. If the good version turn up, I don't think Hungary can stay with them. And I think Hungary will drop out. If the awkward version, which I saw a lot of in Lyon, turn up, then this one is going to go down to the wire, and we could, whoever's commentating those games could have that horrible points situation in the final games trying to work out who's going where and what's going on. Yeah. But it could come down to one made basket could change which team progresses through or not. But yeah, I'm the same with you. B and D are the two groups where there are 3 teams fighting for 2 spots, and it is hard to get a piece of paper between those teams on what the difference is. Looking at those groups, though, what is your gut feeling? What is your gut feeling? Who are the 3 teams from B and who are the 3 teams from D making it through?
I think from Group D, like I mentioned quickly, I think Czechia losing Emma Chikova, that gives the nod to me that Italy is going to go through. Yep. And I mean, Ceci Zendalicini, she can carry a team, especially in group phase.
On her day, if she's happy and she's locked in, she's exceptionally good.
And she's often locked in when she has that Italian jersey.
Yeah, the Azzurri jersey on, she's good to go.
Ready to go. So I do think in group phase, can you rely on her for, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games in a tournament? 3 for sure. And I think she can, that's all they need really to kind of get through. And I just, I think it's too much of a loss for Czechia, as, they have lost a talented, but also a big who was kind of like coming into her own. This season, started a little bit slow with Praha. She made the jump, was at the biggest club in Czechia. And I think it took her a little bit, a couple months to get comfortable in the FIBA Women's EuroLeague competition. But, end of the season, she was playing some of her best basketball, and she was clearly playing, top of her game with the Minnesota Lynx before she went down with her injury. So for me, that's going to push the scale towards Italy. And I think, unfortunately, Czechia might be bowing out.
Yeah, I think for me, the other thing that does it is I think the Italian team are emotionally led. You saw their response to getting the bronze medal, and I feel they're still riding a bit of that wave. Hitting the bronze medal, qualifying for their first World Cup in quite a while. They will walk in with a little bit of a stride to them, a little bit of confidence, of feeling that they kind of do belong. Obviously, they finished above Czechia in the women's Eurobasket. That will give them some confidence. So, yeah, I think I'm on board with you in that group. I think it probably will be Czechia that bow up after the group stage, but I'm definitely not putting any money on it. I can tell you that now. That one is not being locked in at all. What about Group B then, with France, Korea, Nigeria, and Hungary?
Yeah,
who do you think's ducking out?
You had the advantage. You saw all 3 teams in March. Play,
3 of the 4,
Korea, Nigeria, and France. I got to see Hungary play though. And, it was enjoyable. It was inspirational. We saw them at Eurobasket. I thought they had a really good Eurobasket, and I thought they took that momentum into the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers in March that we had. Again, I just don't know if they have the bench strength. You have a Dumbai coming off the bench who can kind of give you a couple strong games every now and then. If, Takash Kish has a tournament like we have seen her do in the past, absolutely. But Dubai, the veteran, they do have talented players. I'm just not sure if Korea are shooting the ball well, like you said. And we've also, their first game, it was a disaster at the qualifiers. Yeah. But after that, you have
ridiculous.
Kang who can make 7 threes in a single game.
Yeah.
And if teams don't know how to slow that down, that can be a rough outing. Nigeria, you mentioned it. I think we're going to see a similar Nigeria team that we saw at the 2024 Paris Olympics,
Right.
because they still have that core together. I know
Mm-hmm.
there's that, we've had a coaching change and whatnot, but I think those women are, ready to continue to make a little bit of noise at the international level. And they're focused. I mean, Musa. Obviously, I got to
Yep.
see the French women's finals, and she's going to be tough for anyone to
Yeah.
stop. And all they need is really to get that win over Hungary or over Korea. So, in my opinion, I think Hungary are, they're going to be the team that it's probably have the least chance of going out of Group B.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
I love the way Hungary play. I think the problem, like you say, is that depth. It's easier to coach against. There's a few options that you need to try and focus on and lock out, and then there's no kind of plan C, D, and E. I think for Nigeria, the one caveat I would put on their poor performance at the qualification tournament is motivation. What are we here for? We're in the middle of a season. We're all pretty tired already. We've dragged ourselves to Lyon for a qualifier that we've already qualified for. They just didn't have rhythm. They didn't have
Right.
a flow, and you could see the coaching staff get so frustrated because they know how good they can be when they bring it together. And I think because you've got veteran players there, might be some of their last World Cups. That's a motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't lack motivation. And I think we'll see the team that won Afrobasket back together. I think that's the kind of level we'll see where they're confident, they're working together as a unit. And I think there'll be just too much for Hungary to cope with. So I think I'm on board with that one as well. Okay, it feels like we're on the same page with the groups of death. This is good. Next question, and I really struggled to narrow this down, so I ended up with 5. I hope you have less than me. Are there any players you are expecting to have a breakout tournament in Berlin in September?
Yeah, it's so hard to say breakout because assuming Dominique Malonga is there, she didn't play a lot at the Paris Olympics. She contributed to their success.
That's true.
And, obviously wasn't at Eurobasket. So technically, even though everyone in the world knows her.
You're claiming her. Okay. Right.
And with, obviously congratulations to Ileana Rupert and her husband, but they're expecting, so we're not going to see Rupert with the French national team. So Malonga is going to have a ton of responsibility defensively, offensively, and she really could have an all-star tournament, like an all-star 5 type of a tournament if France makes a deep run. So it's crazy to say that it might be her because everyone already knows who she is. But I definitely, she was obviously, one of the players who kind of off the top of my head, I was, thinking about moving forward. I'm really excited to see, I don't know if she'll be jumping on the stage, but Japan's Kokoro Tanaka, because
she's on my list.
Oh, she's on
100%. Because I've not seen her play live yet. I've not seen her play in person yet. So I'm like, yes. Because just watching some of the streams, you're like, the way she plays the game is just joy. Yeah. She just plays with a real spirit. So she's on my list as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really excited to see that young player. And, I know she was an All-Star 5 at an Asia Cup last summer. But like you said, a lot of people haven't seen her play yet live.
No.
And just the way that Japan plays, obviously it's her style. It fits into her style. She has a lot of freedom and responsibility offensively. So I'm very, very excited to see her step out. And then, obviously we can talk about Iana Martin with Spain. Because,
definitely.
She was, unfortunately she fell ill last year at the Eurobasket.
Yeah, she just started breaking through, right? She started to have some impact in games, and then she fell ill. And you have to say, Spain not walking away with the gold if they had Martin, maybe that would have been a different game.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see her, in form. She had a great season with Avenida this year at the Euro Cup. She's heading to Girona next year. So we'll get to see her in EuroLeague.
I'm glad to see her back in EuroLeague Women's. Yeah. Definitely. I missed her this year.
Yeah. And right now those are kind of like my top 3. that I'm enjoying, hopefully suiting up and watching.
Yeah, 100% on board with that. Yeah. And I went through the list of teams. Obviously, Czechia have released their roster, their early roster, which I love. No one else has. So it's hard. You're kind of guessing who's going to be there.
Right.
But some of the players that I picked out, obviously covering Korea in Lyon for the qualifiers, Ji-hyung Park.
Mm.
When she hits that stride, when she is playing with confidence and purpose, and she's a little bit of a go-to offensively rather than a secondary thought, she has the ability to have huge gains. She scored 22 against Nigeria. The issue you have is she's not consistent yet.
Right.
If she can put 3 consistent games together in that group stage, for me, that's a big breakthrough. That's her taking a statement to say, I'm the next leader of this team. I'm the one that's going to come through and carry on the kind of Korean style of basketball, DNA of Korean basketball. So she was one definitely for me. It's just about consistency, whether she has that breakthrough or not. The next one was Derin Erdogan, who played obviously for Galatasaray this year. I think she was a massive part and one that never got the headlines about why Galatasaray went as far as they did. Particularly when you look at the final 6 in Zaragoza with all of the injuries and the issues they had, ended up playing, let's be honest, 5 or 6 players. She's playing 35 minutes, very young player, physically strong. She's smart. She reads the game well. She obviously got a training camp contract with the Liberty, had a good game. I think it was Indiana that she put up double digits against. Didn't get obviously a complete contract, but it's a first step for her with regards to the W. So I'm excited to see her play. And again, how they put her along the lines of Chaka and Alpriona and stuff like that, how they fit into that rotation, because the point guard position is probably one of the strongest positions for Turkey in that roster. So finding her minutes might be the problem for her in that one. And then the final one clearly is going to be Zayu Zhang from China. 7'3". Every game you watch her, she causes watching Messerman guard her, and you're like, this doesn't look real. This looks like AI has done something now, because, I think teams will work out how to guard her.
Right.
I think they will. As soon as she brings the ball down, your hands are active. You're going to push the pace because she's not going to want to run, 32 meters at a pace. She's not going to want to run the full length of the floor back and forth in a transition game. But let's be honest, in spurts, in small phases, she's going to cause every team a problem, no matter who they face. She is a problem of how you deal with her.
Right.
And the even scarier thing is she's 19 years old. You stick 3-4 more years in the right program, developing her. If she can become a bit more agile, a bit more, able to get around the court a bit freer, that's a scary prospect, right? Could she be the Wemby of women's basketball?
Right.
Absolutely. Potentially she could be. So I'm excited to see both sides of it. What impact she has and how coaches try and lock her out of the game and stop her being an impact.
Right.
Because I think every coach will have a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how they do that as well. But yeah, they're the 5 that I picked out. Martine, Tanaka, Park, Erdogan, and Zayu.
Yeah.
Are the 5 that I think could have breakthroughs. And we'll look back, won't we, in 120 days or so, and we'll be able to see if we were right or completely clueless. Okay, final question for you, and the horrible one, as we're 100 days away and no one can really know. Who are your final 4 going to be? So who are your semi-finalists, and who are your finalists, and give me your final ranking. Who are those top 4 and in what order?
Oh, man. I'm, obviously gone through this over and over. USA, they're still the team to beat. So, they're my number 1 of the top 4. I think they will have a gold medal around their neck. I do think that we, everything it's hard also to play out because you're like, well, if they don't finish first in their group, then they're going to cross with this.
It's exactly what my notebook's got today. I'm literally like, right, where are they crossing over?
Okay, exactly. Yeah. So
I've done exactly that.
You can help me out. I do think before Ileana Rupert getting pregnant, I think this was going to be a scary French team. And I was having flashbacks of the Paris Olympics.
Yep. And that final shot going differently, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I still want to say with that because I think Malanga is a different player than she was a couple
Hmm.
of years ago. Well, I mean, obviously she's a little bit older. She should, she should be feeling confident. So I'd like to see how she continues to progress this summer in Seattle in the WNBA. Didn't come over to Europe, so we can't really compare what she would have done
Yeah.
in Europe. Has that maybe hold her back in the international game? I don't know. We might find out. But
I think it's
still
pretty clear it does. Doing what she did compared to playing a full season EuroLeague women has stunted her development. There's no argument any other way around that.
so yeah,
People hate me for it, and again, there's no judgment.
no,
It's you're a professional. You're there to earn money as well as play the game. So I get, you know, reasons and processes, but
right,
it will have definitely stunted her by a season of where she could be.
right.
Because you look what Rupert did this year. From the
Oh,
player she was when she turned up to when she's left, she's on a very different level now.
yeah. I mean, we talked about this. I thought Rupert easily could have been MVP of the FIBA Women's
Yep.
EuroLeague this year. Easily.
Yep.
She had the numbers.
Yeah.
She had the consistency. So yeah. And then, like that third, I just keep going back and forth. I never want to bet against Belgium.
No, it's a bad thing to do.
And, every tournament we're like, yeah, but it's a lot of games. They're not super, super deep. Those starting five play enormous minutes. Apparently, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Emma, it doesn't, if she does join a WNBA team, I think it might be a little bit later. So she
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yeah, it will be.
refreshed, feeling good. I just, they somehow know how to make it work coach after coach because they've had a few different coaches and they've still been
Yeah.
successful with all of them. Obviously, Mike Tebow and his staff. I mean, just that final at Eurobasket last year just keeps popping back into my head, and I'm like, who would ever bet against Belgium?
No, it is one of those now, right? They just know how to win stuff. They've
Yeah.
got that DNA of we just know how to win stuff. So yeah, that's a big plus for any team to have.
And I keep going back to I think there's a reason why Germany said we're going to host this event
Yep.
and we're going to invest. We're going to, the federation says, this is our moment. This is our generation. And we're seeing the success of those players in competitions throughout the season. Obviously, Satu Sabali, she's back playing now. She was off for a long time with a concussion. So come September, she should be somewhat rested and in form, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Niara, she's had, a good couple games in the WNBA. Hopefully, if she's healthy and if they can stay healthy, I think, Phoebish is kind of at the height of her game. You have Frida Bunner, who to me, the way that her game has progressed in the last 12, 14 months is
Yeah.
incredible to see.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me also to ever bet against Spain, but I kind of want to push for a team like Germany because they're hosting.
It would certainly make the tournament more exciting, right? If they were to get through to the final day of the tournament, whether it's the final or whether it's a third place game.
Yeah, but then I feel bad because you look at a Coach Bronzello is going to be like, Shona, what are you thinking? What are you talking about?
Yeah, she's calling you
Ezzy
out, definitely.
McBagor, we don't know how long she's going to be out for. Will she be ready come September?
True.
Because if she's
That's a
not,
big miss. Yeah.
that's a huge
Yeah.
miss for them. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm thinking with my top four.
So to clarify,
Yes.
USA are winning it, France in second, Belgium in third, and who are you plumping for fourth?
I'm going with Germany.
Okay, Germany in fourth. Cool. Okay, good. Right. So all the Aussies out there can like me. I've got them in fourth. I see them going in. I'll be honest, it's just something about the Australian team when it comes to tournament play. They frustrate me. It's a while back now, so the roster will look different. But when I covered the Asia Cup in Bengaluru, a few years back, they didn't win and they were frustrating. But there's so much in that team.
Yeah.
I think Australia will end up in fourth spot. I think they will lose to Belgium in that third place playoff game, though. So I think Belgium, I agree with you, in third. And then just the wanting an upset more than logic, I think, now comes in. I think I've got France beating the USA because I would love to see it. And again, Americans don't hate on me. It's just nice to throw the status quo up in the air and just see the reaction. Imagine how much the USA are going to put into the next tournament and the next. Are we going to see them sending their proper teams to the America Cup? Are we going to see them sending a full strength team to every tournament now to prove a point?
Right.
And get them on that internet? Because that's what I want. That's what we all want, right? We want the best players turning up for every single tournament, going toe to toe. That's what makes the FIBA tournaments amazing. And we don't always see that. So I think, the romance in me says France. It does rely heavily on at least one front court player having a massive tournament above expectations, be that a Malonga or whoever. It does require one of those to massively step up with Rupert not being there.
Yeah.
I think with Rupert there, that's an evens final for me. Without Rupert, USA probably are favourites. But I just think because the French team are so used to playing together, that gives them an advantage. They play team basketball, whereas the Americans will have only played, 4 games, 5 games, and they'll be in a final. That's a lot to ask a team to come together, and a team that's going to be stuffed with superstars who are used to having the ball in their hand all the time. Maybe it's just hopeful. Maybe it's optimistic from me, but I'm putting France walking away with the World Cup and a wake-up call for the Americans for them to bring their game. Probably at the Olympics, right? They'll have a point to prove at their own Olympics, which would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's what I've got.
You said it. It'll be interesting, kind of, who they go with in that front court. Obviously, Malonga. Badian, unfortunately, in my opinion, didn't have the best season in Skio. I thought she had a wonderful Olympics in Paris. She was really, and then, a couple of years of maybe she's not the first option, right? So
no,
I don't think that really helped her game. Do they go with a player like, it's a gay, but then do you really need another big 5? Because obviously Ayayi and Salon can play 4. It'd be interesting to see, which direction France goes in. We all have to agree, the backcourt, they can hang with any team in the world.
The biggest problem is, who are they picking?
Yeah.
Who are they picking?
Yeah.
This is tough. If you were picking on form, does Berniez lose her spot for a likes of Carla?
But, let's not forget.
These are tough decisions, right?
Yeah, but Footux is going to be back in the mix.
Footux,
she's
Astier. Yeah. You've got 5 or 6 point guards that you've got to try and chisel down from. Yep. And then, like you say, there's names that are guaranteed. Williams, Johannes, Ayayi. These are all players guaranteed. Salon's guaranteed. And then you've got Malonga. People are really going to have to fight hard to get into those remaining spots at the World Cup.
Yep.
But it's exciting to see. It's super exciting to see. Okay, well, that wraps up episode 8 for us. We are just about 100 days away from the World Cup. That tips off on the 4th of September. Just a selfish note, that is the day after my birthday. I will hopefully be flying to Germany on my birthday. What a way to spend your birthday, on a Ryanair flight. Joyous. I don't know. I don't think they do birthday cakes on Ryanair flights, so we'll see. But yes, I will hopefully see you over there, Shona. We are yet to confirm, but hopefully we will both be. But I'm definitely going to Berlin. It's just whether I'm commentating or not is to be confirmed. So perfect. Episode 8 in the books. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, subscribe to us, follow us, like us, all of that kind of stuff. And we will be back shortly with another episode. Thanks a lot, guys. See you all soon.